14 days after I graduated from high school, I went to boot camp. The sayings of a Marine is semper fidelis, which in Latin means always faithful. And I just took it so important to be faithful to me, my country, everyone around me. You just feel so good about joining and motivated. I volunteered to go to Iraq because my squadron, they weren't going to send me at first because I was a female. And I was like the only female in my shop. You're going to work every day, but then it's also like a high alert because you never know what's going to happen. I was on guard watch. And guard watch, we basically just sit around the rifles. And I was kind of laying down by the rifles because it was hot and I was trying to shade. They all fell on me and like I was knocked unconscious or something. Like I actually woke up in medical. At the time, it's like, I didn't think nothing of it. It was just go back to work. But like over the years, like I've been having memory loss, I faint. I have like really bad anger problems out of nowhere. And they say that it's because of the traumatic brain injury. I think my dad said I sat around one day just crying all the time. And I couldn't tell him why I was crying because I didn't know. And he made me go to the doctor to see like what was wrong with me because I was like depressed like for so long. I even I attempted suicide. My dad had to call like the police on me. He didn't think I was safe for myself. I just felt like I was so worthless. I felt like I had just let everyone down.
Unless you're a veteran and you've served in a combat zone, what we think in America is a problem, it really isn't. So they come back and they've had roadside bombs blow up. They've seen their comrades killed, so they're hyper-vigilant. So if we come in, provide them all the necessary tools they need, the medical assistance, the emotional assistance, we can get them back to where they were. The Veterans Treatment Court allows military veterans who have been honorably discharged to come into our treatment court and to have their sentences handled by a specialty judge like myself.
I actually rented a car, and they say they never got it back, but the car got towed. The tow company doesn't exist anymore. I got paperwork saying that it got towed, but since they didn't actually physically get that car back, they charged me with grand theft auto. And so it was kind of hard, getting to court, food, housing. I became like homeless here in Florida.
Every time she came to court, she would be crying inconsolably, and I could not really reach her. Like a lot of our veterans, she came in, she had some issues with substance, and so we continued to help her. And she was making good progress, but she really made great progress when she got into the Clinton Cox residence, which is part of the BlueAngelsFoundation support network. It's a safe place where they can come and stay for several months if they need to and get themselves back on their feet and do that in a safe environment with a staff that's there around the clock to assist them if necessary.
There's comfort in being here. You see that you're not the only one in the situation that you're in. You get to hear the different stories, and even if you don't share anything, to hear what someone else is going through, it might help you too. They teach you different coping mechanisms. So even if you do have this big anxiety attack, I've learned ways to deal with the anxiety in a more healthy way versus in a negative way.
Jennifer is an example of a person who can prove herself, and she has proven herself, just like all these young folks can.
Don't hesitate, don't hold back. If it's something that you want to do, go out and fight for it. You have to find that spark in you, that something that really motivates you to do better.
These programs and the money donated by those who are able to do so produce great results. Get people the treatment that they need, and again, put these people who are doers in their community back on their feet and back ready to work and back ready to help their community. So it's worthwhile to do so.
I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted to serve my country and I wanted to try to make a difference. I was with 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, and we deployed to Sangin, Afghanistan. I loved my job, being a point man and being in the infantry. It really did feel like a brotherhood. They will do anything to keep you alive, and you will do anything to keep them alive. We went out, normal patrol. We took a route that we had already planned out. I was told to go down an alleyway. The battery pack was around the corner, so I didn't actually pick it up with a metal detector. I stepped on the pressure plate and went off. Completely knocked me out and didn't know what had happened until I woke up in the hospital, which I believe was a day or two afterwards. I was medically retired in December of 2013. Transitioning out of the Marine Corps, it's that security or that stability or structure is not there anymore. So it made transitioning out really difficult. Living in an apartment by myself, I didn't really know what to do with myself. Turned to drugs, turned to alcohol. A lot of people were telling me that I needed to get help. I finally realized and I finally saw how the alcohol and how the drugs were affecting me. My medication wasn't regulated. I wasn't doing anything to actually help myself.
Going into civilian life is not as structured. There's more forward thinking. There's not orders. There's different people to be accountable to and for. That's where Sandy comes in. Sandy and Freedom Station help our lives in absolutely every aspect. The quality of Isaac's life is helped every day. The passion that he's found and the drive that he's found in basketball is all possible because of Freedom Station. It gives them his brotherhood back.
Freedom Station brings you back to a military setting. They give you structure, they give you camaraderie, anything that you would possibly need to transition or to carry on with your life. Wolfpack is funded by Freedom Station. Freedom Station takes care of all of our travel expenses. They help to get us chairs that fit to us. They've hosted our tournament for the past 3 years. They make it really easy for us to actually enjoy a sport and to play a sport that we're very passionate about. It's like a second family.
When I watch Isaac play with the Wolfpack, the pure joy that he gets, the freedom from his mind and his body and anything else that could hold him back is gone. All those barriers are gone. When I look at Isaac, I see my hero and the love of my life.
Cammie, she's been everything to me. She has kept me going, she kept me up when I've been down, and she's just been like a rock that I can lean on. She is just the most amazing woman that I've ever met. My daughter Izzy, she's 8 years old. She lives in Wisconsin right now with her mother. She has been coming out to visit every once in a while here in California, and I plan on getting her out here hopefully for Christmas. I would want my daughter to know that my time in the military, it was the best and worst times of my life, but it definitely made me to be the person that I am today.
I'd like the Blue Angels Foundation to know that without them and their support, especially to Freedom Station, our lives would not be what they are today. There's always somebody to reach out to here. There's a support network that goes above and beyond any support network I've ever known. How can we continue to be the America that we are and fight for the freedoms that we are so gratefully have without supporting the people that fight for us?
I joined the Army Reserve straight out of high school. I was 18. I just felt like it was a calling. I wanted to serve and I wanted to be part of something bigger. We were in Camp Leatherneck, which is in Helmand Province. It's an area riddled with opium growth, the Taliban, one of the most kinetic areas in Afghanistan because of the opium sales and the opium trade. I was 31 when I was there. So seeing 19-year-old men and 20-year-old women dying constantly was just heartbreaking. And one night I had a knock on the door, and the sergeant in charge told me that we had a KIA, which means someone was killed in action. Being the operations officer, I had to tell people where to go, what to do, talk to the convoy and figure out what was going on. So I went into work, and we had a feed out that I could look into and tap into. And sure enough, there was our convoy right beside the base in Kandahar where it was supposed to be, and one of the vehicles was on fire. After a few minutes, we realized they couldn't get the soldiers out of the trucks. And so for the next 12 hours, I watched them burn. And what began as people ended as just charred skeletons. And the other part was you couldn't mourn. You immediately took care of all the preparations. We had 3 other missions out that day. We had another mission that night. We had so many things to do that you don't stop to process what happened. There is definitely a sense of the mission must continue, and we don't have time for emotions, even though everybody feels them.
When Kyra came back from Afghanistan, she was no longer the outgoing, wonderful, fun-loving person that she used to be. She had a lot of doubts, a lot of fears, a lot of uncertainties. She couldn't communicate it, so it was hard for me to understand what actually happened in her life and how these things had hindered her with her mentality and with her ability to cope with life.
Everyone understood that if I didn't want to go in a crowd, that's fine. She's been to Afghanistan, we get it. She doesn't want to watch a military movie, that makes sense. So I think that enables you to harbor the PTSD for so much longer. I would pretend to smile around everyone, but I couldn't wait to get back to my room and do nothing and not be around people. And I was very depressed. I was definitely drinking too much. They had me on 4 different medications for depression and were trying to put me on 1 more. And I just felt like life was closing in. And I called my mom and I told her, I said, Mom, I'm gonna kill myself.
Well, it was one evening I got a phone call from Kyra, and she was in really bad shape. She had enough, she's finished. She really did think about taking her life, and I told her to come and talk to me.
She told me all the reasons I should not do it. And she forced me to promise I wouldn't before I could leave. I definitely knew at that point that I had to get help because this wasn't going away.
I guess I was grateful that I was there to be able to take that call, because sometimes people just aren't there, and it would have been a disaster if I hadn't been.
It hit me. These people that care about me thinks that I need help. Maybe I need help. And that's when I started looking into programs for PTSD, and I found the program at Emory. They have psychiatrists and counselors who are specially trained and have committed their life's work to treating PTSD. They teach you how to overcome anxiety with some great tips, and they actually take you out into the world again, and it really works. The first time I went to tell my story about what had happened, I couldn't get through it. I hadn't told anyone. But within 3 days, I could talk through it. And that weekend, after the first week, I called my family and friends and was able to tell them what I'd been dealing with.
It was the difference between night and day. It was like getting my daughter back, you know? And that's the hope that Emory gives these veterans and these soldiers, to become a member of society again and to put war behind you.
It meant so much for her to see my progression. She was proud of me as a soldier, and now she's proud of me as someone who's happy again and functional again and pursuing my dreams again. I truly believe that programs like the one at Emory and the BlueAngelsFoundation and what they do to support veterans are truly saving veterans' lives. I don't know where I would be today without the program, and I can't say I would be here.
It's so important, and now that we realize what war can do to our heroes, how we support them, and we help them in every way we can to become whole members of society again, because they've given so much for us. It gives them their lives back, and that's what you give to, that's what you donate to, and that's what makes a difference.